Now, the title of this is the 9-Step $1 Million Personal Injury Marketing Plan, and essentially what this is showing is the 9 marketing systems to gross $1 million in annual collections. And it's really, we're breaking down into reverse engineering the simplicity of the minor components it takes just to gross and collect $1 million a year, specifically in personal injury. So let's go ahead and start with some of the basic factors. So how to collect $1 million annually. So let's reverse out $1 million. So if you take $1 million in gross collections, and we're going to apply a $4,000 case average to that. And again, we're going to use some numbers that may be higher or lower than what you're used to. Everybody that's watching this has a different perspective. We're just trying to make it relative and simple to put the steps together. So if we divide $1 million by a $4,000 case average, that's 250 new patients a year. If you take 250 new patients a year, divide that by 12 months, that's 21 personal injury new patients that are needed. Now, 21 new patients, personal injury patients a year at $4,000 is $1 million collection personal injury practice. Now, here's some considerations. So let's look at how did we get to a $4,000 case average? Well, let's look at the 3 phases of healing, the inflammation, repair, and I applied some treatment values to these. So in the inflammation phase, let's say that we had 4 treatments in the inflammation phase. For the repair phase, there were 24 treatments. And, or excuse me, in the remodel phase there, the last one is 18 visits. And essentially, that the third phase there should say remodel phase, not repair. So 18 visits. So we can totally justify the need for care of 4 visits in the repair phase or in the inflammation phase, 24 visits in the repair phase. And again, the repair phase is from 6 to 12 weeks. So if we took 3 visits a week and we did, let's say we only did 8 weeks, so 3 times 8 is 24. That's how I came up with 24 visits in the repair phase. Yours may be more or less depending on, other factors. And then, of course, in the remodel phase, that should be the remodel phase, I put 18 visits. So if you go from the 3-month mark to the 12-month mark, and I just calculated it at 2 visits in that 9-month period. So that's 18 visits. So if you take 18 and 24 and 4, that comes up with your 46. That's 46 visits, which is very normal for a personal injury case. And actually, it's below average to go through all 3 phases of treatment. And this is also why it's very important that you base your care on the 3 phases of healing and you document accordingly. And when you do that, that's not, you won't be charged for excessive, for medically undocumented or billing for services that are not medically documented and asked to send that money back. So that's why it's important to base your care on the 3 phases of healing, because it cannot be contested. Those are universally accepted facts. And document those not just with the SOAP notes, but with re-exams. And that's what gives you the documentation that's needed, plus the functional capacity test to treat the patient. And of course, 46 visits is essentially on the low end. But that's how we got the 46 visits. So if we did a cost per visit of $100, and let's say your office visit is $40 to $60, and you did 1 passive therapy or 1 active therapy at $40, you can easily see $100 per visit is quite normal. It's not extreme. So 46 visits is not extreme. It's actually a little bit under what it should be based on the 3 phases of healing. In generally speaking, $100 is certainly very conservative. Most doctors I see are at $150 to $250 for their cost per visit. That's essentially an office visit and 1 passive or active treatment. And then that's how we got to $4,600 for the case average. So you got 46 visits times $100. You got $4,600 case average. And remember, we said we were going to look at $4,000 case average. So we're looking at real numbers here. So what are some other considerations that we need to take into? We still want to pay attention to all the major marketing principles in the types of systems we use. So we still want to use introductive, active referral, passive referral systems and stay away from leads and cold calls. And because remember, with the introductions and active referral marketing systems, we have way more trust and way more need. So the effectiveness of using the exact same system marketing system that's through an introduction or active referral will bring better results than if it's a cold called or lead system. So that's why we want to tier it towards systems where there's already higher trust and need. And we always want to consider the major factors of demographics, psychographics, geographic, psychographic barriers, gateways, unique segment, and their motivation. So these are factors that we definitely don't want to throw out the window. We want to consider these. These are definitely considerations. And some other considerations, especially, is the core marketing principle. So after you strip away everything with demographics, psychographics, geographics, and all that, you're at the core of motivation, the need versus obstacles. So what's the perceived need of your target market relative to their perceived obstacles to how much trust there is in the relationship? So that's the absolute core of every marketing system you do. So we want to be paying attention to these. So these are considerations, and we're gonna consider having when we look at these numbers, 3 referring personal injury attorneys. You do not need 20, 30, or 40. A lot of chiropractors think they need a ton of personal injury attorneys. You don't. You just need 1, 2, 3, or 4 that refer you 1, 2, or 3, 4 patients a month. That's it. So we're going to consider 3 referring personal injury attorneys as we walk through this. We're going to consider 3 referring medical doctors and 3 referring insurance adjusters. And I'll explain that. That's a very untapped source, the insurance adjuster, and we'll cover that here at the end. But these are some considerations as we walk through the 9-step system. And then you essentially have 4 things you're going to do. You're either going to do nothing, and so not reap the benefits of that particular vehicle, or you'll do publicity, advertising, or educational sales. And of course, if you remember when we talk about the S-curve of marketing, publicity and advertising attract people who are looking. And of course, you want to do the optimal advertising, but the bad news with that is 75% of the attorneys don't use chiropractors. 68% of the personal injury patients don't see chiropractic care. So that's the bad news. And of course, that's the good news if you know educational sales. So the publicity and advertising will not reach that large segment of the market. They'll only reach the people who are looking, but educational sales will go in and affect those, because publicity and advertising only affect the obstacles or trust. They really don't affect need, where educational sales affects the need, the obstacles, and the trust. And that's the difference of how you can go into the market. So you only have 4 options. It's either do nothing in that particular system, use publicity, advertising, or educational sales, and your skill set or knowledge.